Another question now from Phil. What is the best way to cut through the client's firmly held beliefs and get actual data we can work with? Well, great question. We've talked before about beliefs and interpretations, how they can get in the way, when what we want is something workable, something we can actually use. Well, there are a number of techniques we can use. One of them, I call it video descriptions. And this is, I think this came from Bill O'Hanlon. I think Bill taught this many years ago, and he's written about it. Video descriptions. Read Bill O'Hanlon's, but he's written so many books you don't know which one to pick. But have a look at the ones he wrote based on Erickson and systemic therapy and family therapy, etc., couple therapy. Good books. Brilliant teacher, lovely guy, writes great songs as well. Hi, Bill, if you're watching. I think he came up with this. Video descriptions. This is where you say to the client, okay, if there was a video camera there when you're having this particular symptom or problem, what would it see? What would it film? Now, when the client describes this, they'll sometimes slip back into their subjective interpretations. You want to stop that and say, oh no, go back to the video camera, because the video camera doesn't think. It doesn't interpret. It just films what's happening. So what would I see? What would I see? If I was watching that video after, what would I actually see happening? And this makes the client kind of look at their symptom from within a video camera. They're just seeing it. They can't interpret it because the camera doesn't interpret. So they'll say, well, I see this. I see myself pacing up and down. I'm pacing up and down. So this is what I do. I pace up and down. And then I start grinding my teeth or whatever the symptom is, and then something else happens. And so they're giving you a objective rundown of the factual, physiological experience in that particular moment, whatever the problem is. Okay. Then by doing that, they're already stepping outside of their subjective interpretation, and they are seeing the problem from a different angle. So first of all, what you're doing here, they're learning something from this because they're now seeing their problem through different eyes. They're learning something from this. But also it's giving you genuine factual information that you can use, especially if you're then going to be working with tasking. And that's why I mentioned Bill O'Hanlon, because, wonderful with tasking. He specialized in that kind of area. He used hypnosis as well, but tasking. And if you're doing tasking, you need to get factual information. So this is a great way of getting, data that's genuine that you can actually work with and then create tasks. Another way I work with it is to say, okay, if I was let's say I was a director of a play, your actors in the play, and I am a director. Okay, so what would I see you doing? Then it's the same thing, like looking through the camera, but now I'm the director. Describe what the director would see you doing. Okay. And you could even say, so now, what would I need to tell you in order to change that? So you can start getting into some therapy here, where the client's then telling you as a director, that he's looking through your director's eyes, what he thinks that he would need to do. So he's objective. So he becomes like a therapist in himself. That's another way of doing it. The other way is if, let's say you have a couple coming in for therapy, and they argue or something like this. They have disagreements and they argue. You can say, okay, so if I was, let's say the husband and wife is, they say, okay, so you say to the wife, okay, so when he's about to argue, tell me what you see. And again, you don't want the interpretations. You want to just tell me what you see. You could even say, what if you were a video camera, what would you see him doing? And again, you're getting her objective perception of his nonverbal behavior and his tonality, etc., and even the things he says, but without the interpretation. Okay. So she's learning from that, but also you're getting this data. Then you say to the guy, okay, you do the same. So how do you know she's about to argue? What would you see if she was about to argue? Okay. And so what you're getting here, is objective data that's true, factual, you can use, but it's also part of the therapy for the clients. Phil. So Phil again. Sorry, Phil. Phil. Yeah, this is the best way to cut through firmly held beliefs. It's people who've got irrational beliefs. Get them to step outside of their beliefs by being objective and describing what's happening from that point of view of being outside of themselves in some way. And if they step into that subjective part, just get them to step out again and just continue to get them to give you objective content about what's going on.